Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. My name is Heike and today I have Lavanya with me. Lavanya, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Heike. Hi, everyone. I'm Lavanya, and I'm the principal product manager on the Intune team working on generative AI. So, trying to do some magic out there.
And the topic I'm super excited about because I don't know anything about it. So, what are we going to talk about? And I'm so excited that you will, educate me and hopefully many others on this great new agent.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about the Intune Vulnerability Remediation Agent. Oh my God, that's a mouthful. Intune Vulnerability Remediation Agent. Yeah. So, yes, we're going to talk about this agent and, in general, some good stuff about agents and how to think about agentic capabilities within the security products.
Okay. Why was this agent developed? Like, what is the challenge that our customers have with vulnerabilities that your team thought, hey, let's help them and build this agent?
Oh, that's a great question, Heike. There are two parts to this, right? Like one, our customers who are predominantly on the Intune side of the fence, they are more of the IT admins or analysts. And one of the big things that they always came to us was, oh, if there is any vulnerability affecting our organization, we really have to wait for the security admins to, one, inform us, and second, then to tell us what really needs to happen. And then sometimes it's like, oh, there is this vulnerability, but what really needs to happen? What should the priority be? Is almost like a reactive approach. And in the security world, especially with Gen AI, you know that we do not have the luxury of time, right? So, which is where how do we ensure that we are on top of the game and taking care of the right steps is where the ask really came from our customers, and that's kind of like the evolution of the, let me make it short, IBR agent.
Okay. So, because I'm not very familiar with it, so in Intune, you have visibility into vulnerabilities on the devices.
Correct.
And where are these coming from? Is this from the Intune agent on the box, or where is this information coming from?
Right. So think about it this way, right? This is one of a very powerful cross-product scenario, if I may say so, wherein we are looking at the Microsoft Defender Vulnerability Management as a product where we are picking up the signals from the team. They are the experts in kind of looking at the entire landscape and identifying the vulnerabilities, assessing those vulnerabilities because they are the SMEs in that space, right? Now, then they go ahead and they score, provide a prioritization of sorts, right? Which is the information that we pick up, and then we say, okay, these are the vulnerabilities which is affecting these number of devices, and based on the exposure to the endpoints, then we go back and we also look at the suggested steps an admin would take. Again, think about this as a way in which human is absolutely in the middle of all this happening, right? So it's not like some unknown entity sitting out there and taking some kind of an action, more like a ghost out there in the ecosystem. No, it's not that way, right? It's actually the admins who are provided with all the information that they need, and then they are able to decide on which action to take and what is the steps that they need to apply to ensure that the endpoints that are exposed are safe and compliant.
Okay. So basically, you need either Defender for endpoint or you need threat and vulnerability management on the endpoint so that then Intune gets that information for all the different devices.
It's actually, to be precise, it's the MDVM, right?
Yeah.
Because then that signals are what we apply on the endpoints, and those endpoint related information is what Intune is a pro at.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying. And I love it because, it's not always the security SecOps persona in the Defender portal. It's a task also from, as you said, the IT admin, which is maybe using the Intune portal. And so everybody has visibility into what matters to them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Think about this as a pseudo sec admin providing the right kind of insights to the IT admin, and then IT admin's really taking the action. And the sec admin here is almost like an agent that is sitting out there reviewing the signal, monitoring the landscape, and making things aware of, right? Because there is so much going on, and the number of exposures and vulnerabilities, as we can imagine, has only multifolded. With Gen AI in the play, it's not gotten any simpler, is
Yeah.
how I would position it.
Yeah. Okay. So, and now we want to help in order to, from the name, I understand, remediate vulnerabilities.
That's right.
That's how and what. Like remediating means downloading a patch and applying the patch to those devices, changing configuration. There is so much. Like, what is the remediation that the agent can do?
Yeah, so predominantly you have almost given out the answer, I would say, what the agent is doing, because the recommendations are in line with an OS patch update or an application update or a configuration changes that needs to go in place. And again, all of this is not something that an IT admin really needs to be a pro at, right? Because when those recommendations are provided, and I'll walk through what that experience looks like in a bit, it really talks through the step-by-step actions that an admin would need to take. And once they have tested all of this and they feel good, and then they go ahead and mark this as applied within the agentic workflow. Again, this is not a new workflow that we are introducing, right? Like in a given workflow, as you're looking at the security landscape of the endpoints, is where this agent kind of plays a very key role. So that means it's very well integrated into the workflow that the admins are already familiar with, and not expecting to know ins and outs of the vulnerabilities or trying to understand how should I prioritize, how should I come up with the risk code. It's none of those, right? All of those are ready handcrafted information that's available, kind of enabling them to take the action right from the get-go.
Mhm. So let's have a look at the demo.
Sounds good. All right. For folks familiar, this is the Intune Admin Center, and what you're really seeing on the screen is the homepage. But let's really dive into the agent, where what would be available as part of the endpoint security blade would be the vulnerability remediation agent. And as you can see, this is currently in the preview mode. So if you really look at this, there are some key information that's available here. One, it's talking about when the agent finished running on the endpoints. And then second, it's also giving a little bit of insight. Heike, going back to your earlier point, where are we getting these insights from? So we are explicitly calling out about the source of the vulnerabilities itself, which is the Microsoft Defender vulnerability management. So this is not a secret. We want our admins to know about the source as well. And hence, we have made this very clear. And if somebody is really interested in understanding more about this, you click on the learn more and you get to go and look at all the fun stuff. Now, here, based on the latest run, we are seeing some suggested next steps, right? There are two aspects to this. One on the Edge Chromium based app version, and the other one is related to the Microsoft Teams. And below, if any of the activities have been performed, any steps, and it's not been successful, then we also track to say that, oh, you know what? The status of the run has failed, but if something has worked well, we capture that as well, right? So that means it's a great lay of the land to understand the agentic run as you think about it in a scheduled manner or as a manual run. Now let's look at what this update Microsoft Teams is talking all about, right? Like here, the suggested next step is very clear because one, there is a vulnerability that has been associated with the version of the Microsoft Teams. And here it talks about the application a little bit itself, right? Like in terms of who the publisher of this application is. And there are several aspects of the vulnerabilities that is available here again. Whoever is an security expert would be able to map these numbers to understand more about what is happening and do a little bit of a deep dive. But if it is an IT admin who is more interested in really taking the action, these are the steps that is available out here where it talks about the export option and then taking an action of adding the right things into the Entra groups. Again, if you think about this, we are talking about Microsoft Defender Vulnerability Management as one of the other products where we are looking at vulnerability. And then for anything to do with the groups and taking actions of adding members to a given group, we are leveraging Entra. And finally, the things that you will need to do on the Intune console, where you're ensuring that you are either upgrading the app version or you're doing some additional configuration, all of those information are available. The good thing about this is there is nothing hidden, right? Like at any stage, any area that you would like to dig deep into, you will be able to do that. And here are some of the references as well. And once the admin has taken action on all of this, they have an option to go ahead and mark this as applied, right? Like here at this point in time, let's say we mark this as applied. And then when we come back here, if you look at this, the status automatically changed from not applied to applied. That's the goodness, right? And then again, the admin can paste this based on the priority, based on the impact that they are seeing. Again, if we want to understand what is the impact, there is this little read bubble icon that tells you, okay, this is more related to the exposure score. And based on the number that you see there for the impact, you decide when you want to go ahead and take actions, right? Again, if you want to have a different view of the different suggested next step, this is a comprehensive list of the several suggested next steps and the type of remediation. It could be app related, it could be OS related. That's available here along with the impact score and the number of devices exposed, right? So that means you come here, you are only able to get the view of the latest run. But if you want to have a comprehensive view, you come into this view, look at all of the suggested next steps, and you decide at your own pace when you want to take action. And if there are any additional information that you want to do in terms of the agentic run itself, then these are the settings that you would enable and also decide on the frequency at which you would like for this agent to run. The beauty of all of this is you're not going into, oh, I need to go into tenant administration or I need to go into a different location. It's all available in the existing workflow within the given portal or the blade that you have selected itself, right? That's the goodness that you get with this entire experience.
So help me understand, Lavanya. So what is the agent actually doing? Like when it says agent runs.
Yeah. So the agent, when it is running, it is actually going and probing the Defender vulnerability system to identify what are the new vulnerabilities, right? And then bringing that vulnerability into the Intune portal and doing all the needed magic from the impacted devices. All of that work behind the scenes is what the agent is working on, right? So that means an IT admin is not going into a Defender portal to understand the vulnerabilities and then coming and doing a manual join to understand, oh, what are the exposed devices, and then figuring out how do I remediate this, right? None of that the admin is doing. So that means this agent is the detective behind the scenes that's gone, looked at the Defender system. It's figured out, okay, these are the exposed devices, and then figuring out if there is an intro related action that needs to be taken as part of the remediation workflow. Those are the things that's provided as part of the suggested next steps. So all of this is taken care of. And to also answer your question, let's say I have scheduled the status as on and the frequency as every day, then that means this agent is running every day on your behalf to come back and provide you with the information that is needed to be able to take the right kind of actions. Otherwise, all of these steps that I have just described would have been a manual process, or you would have had to create a custom logic or an in-house tool to query these different system and then bring the information together. That's a lot of work, right? Like we have these products for a given reason because they are the SMEs in the space, so you want to capitalize on that information.
So this is cool. And then I saw something, Lavanya, if you could go back into then the full suggested next steps, because I think, it gives you the guidance, but also already a couple of things that you can use in order to make life easier. For instance, there was something about all the devices that are impacted, right? So you don't want to go and now search them one by one. So you have
Right,
that CSV file that you can then use when you create that group, I would assume,
correct.
and can import it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is where outside of the exposed devices, you can export it to a CSV file. And then you want to leverage that list to be able to add to a given group or to a brand new group you may want to create, and then target a policy on those groups to be able to update the version of the teams. All of those actions you can take, okay, right? So that's where this flexibility of breaking this information multiple ways is available, so that way you know what is the source, where all is the information kind of getting collected, where are you able to take the action. And also along the way, if you look at it, there are a lot of these links, right? Like these links are not like an overhead. These links are really kind of, if let's say I want to understand about MDVM itself, I have a link to learn about this. I want to understand more about the policy configurations from the settings catalog available within Intune, you know where to go find it. Or you want to just in general continue to keep exploring more, you have these references. Or even understand whether these devices form specific groups. Again, within Intune, I'm sure you're aware of this, we don't treat physical devices or cloud PC devices any different, right? Like they are all same set of devices. And we also have a lot of insights about surface devices as well, right? So this is a great footnote to talk about that. As part of these exposed devices, we do not have Windows servers, right? So that way, an admin is made clear. They don't need to do any kind of a guesswork to say, oh, does this include my devices or does this not include my devices, right? Like we want to make it pretty explicit to talk about what is included versus what is not.
Thank you, Lavanya, for that demo. That brings me to a question. It's an agent. Before we always talked about automation. And so how how should our audience think about agent versus automation, or is it hand in hand, or yeah?
I was almost thinking when I was doing the demo whether you would ask me that question. So I saw this coming. I think this question comes up quite a bit, where our customers are like, okay, we were talking about automation, orchestration all along. Now we are talking about agents. Um, I would almost call it as a agents as a new era or a new way of thinking about automation and orchestration. But there is a twist, right? Now, let's talk about the different agents itself before I get into the meaty chunk of the conversation. I think the way we can decouple this is a deterministic agent, which is nothing but a workflow where you know exactly step two needs to happen right after step one, and you know that entire workflow. I call this deterministic, right? Which is great, which is nothing but our existing
Working off a playbook.
right, totally, that I can draw a parallel to our current automation or an orchestration workflow, right? But if you think about it, a lot of the time, any of these automation workflows with changes, with newer system, it's so much harder for it to adapt because there is somebody that needs to go modify, tweak, and all of those good stuff. But the way for you to think about agentic workflow, which is non-deterministic, is where AI plays a very big role, right? Like as an example, on the whole vulnerability remediation agent that we were just talking about, your suggested next step can constantly keep evolving, right? Today it's a Teams app. Tomorrow it could be another application or an OS version, which needs a completely different set of steps to be taken. And those steps that you really need to take evolves over a period of time. So you don't need to hard code any of those, right? Those are the things that runtime is available, which is non-deterministic in nature, and that's where AI plays a very key role. I think that's the beauty of this agentic capabilities, and why I'm such a big fan of it is something that you must have figured out by now, right? Like it's phenomenal. Otherwise, you have a lot of the admin spending a good amount of their time. To keep these automated workflows up to date as well, right? It's not an easy job.
No, and doing all these, like figuring out what to do, where to find it. This is so helpful. So, Lavanya, now everybody is asking, how do I get this agent? And as of now, the vulnerability remediation agent is in a limited preview, which means
That's
if
right.
someone is interested, they can reach out to their sales rep and then probably talk to your team and hop into that preview. But for now, I think for everyone else, stay excited and stay curious for when everybody can test it out or actually get their hands dirty on it. Lavanya, any call to action from your side to our audience? There is a learn page. What do you want people to tell?
So, a selfish plug, as always, a product manager without a selfish plug will feel like a story that's half said. So, here's what I'm going to ask my audience, right? Like, if you're interested in previewing, like I said, please reach out to us. We are happy to engage with you and see how you can get your hands dirty. But outside of that, if you have some more great ideas in terms of what else you would have liked to see as part of this agent or any other agentic idea, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because we thrive out of customer feedback, and that is what we want to build. We do not want to build something that's going to sit on the shelf. So my biggest call to action to all of you is please, please, please come back, tell us what great ideas you have that you would have liked to see as an agentic experience within Intune, and I'll be happy to take that feedback and work on it along with my other peers, and ensure that next time around when I'm recording this with our amazing Heike, probably we are talking about one of those ideas from our customers.
Absolutely. I would love to have you back. That was really cool. Thank you so much. And before everybody goes, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and also share it with others. So spread the love. And thanks everyone for watching and see you soon. Bye.